Hi, I'm Katie Lowry. Well, my name's actually Catherine Elizabeth, and here's my signature. I like bullet journaling a lot, I like Starbucks, and I love the logo, just like every other girl in America. And I can play chess pretty well. Well, not actually, but I think the chess design is really, really cool. And I wish I could play. I also love going to concerts. The lights, the music, the people around me. I notice the design of the drum sets, the design of what they're wearing. Everywhere I go, I constantly see design. This is Langhorne Slim, by the way. He's one of my favorite artists. And this is my dog. His name's Cody. Jake's in the back, but we love Cody more. Since I could walk, I have always noticed design in the world around me. I see signs, I see the grass. My feet walking, I have constantly seen design in its many forms. It's everywhere, and today I'm going to tell you all about the way I see it. This is my documentary called The Design of Life. I was born from my parents, Chris and Susan. My dad is a private jet flyer, and my mom's a stockbroker. Together, they had 6 children. My brother Scott was the firstborn, and he's an entrepreneur, business guy. Second was my sister Beth, and she's really smart. She works in human resources, so she's always talking. Next was my sister Jen. She's in sales. She's always talking to people like Beth. Then came my brother Alex. He's really smart too, and he works in architecture. He's a great engineer. And lastly, my sister Sarah. She's at school studying to be a nurse. But what about me? I'm the blonde child, and everybody's always been confused about what I do. Well, I'm the creative one. When I came along, everyone was confused as to why I wasn't trying to become an accountant or a finance major or a doctor. But just as long as I can remember, I've always been into design. I remember when I was 4 years old, I would tell my mom about the brands that were at the store. I would look on the shelves and I would be like, Mom, that one looks like the best one. And she always said that I wanted expensive things, and it's because a lot of brands that are really expensive pay a lot of money to get their package design. And I've always known so much about design and in how it attracts us as humans, and I'm still I fall for branding all the time, which is funny to me because I know exactly what they're doing and how generic brands are most of the time the same as high-end brands. But the design just is so attractive to me, and I feel better about a product when I buy it and the packaging is pretty. And it's been a culprit to my wallet because I'll just buy things that are more expensive and it makes me happy. And so I want to be a part of that, and I always have. I've wanted to grow up so that I could put into the world what I've always received, and make people happy with consumerism, because it is widely a part of our lives. Every single day we are constantly just have brands in our faces all the time, and I really just wanted to be a part of that and show that, hey, I can make other people want to buy things rather than being the buyer. I always get frustrated when people tell me that I'm not going to make a lot of money in design, because I think that is a ridiculous assumption when it's honestly an amazing career because of how much it is implemented in our lives, which I'm about to show you in this video, how design has become the majority of what we do every single day. And my boyfriend's a finance major, and I see him using interfaces that I'm going to be designing. So I'm really passionate about this subject because I want to be the person who proves people that think that creative people have no purpose or aren't going to make a lot of money, because it is false, and design is life. Upon entering a new home, I always wonder why things are placed the way they are. I wonder why they chose that painting or why they put those curtains up. Or was that plant in the middle just pretty? See, in homes, design is absolutely everywhere. It's on posters, it's on the color of the wall, it's absolutely everywhere. It's the textures that we choose in our homes have always inspired me in every day. I see plants, I see chairs, and the texture of these chairs and how they help the vibe of the entire room come together. People don't really think that decorating is as designy as, say, graphic design posters, but it is. They all have different textures. They're all in different places. Chandeliers. Why are they the way they are? Who said they should hang like that and be so intricate? It is so amazing how we choose these different textures and placements of items in our homes that make them the way they are and make our homes feel like our home, not somebody else's. Design also takes place in other time periods. So this room is pretty ugly to me. Why? Well, because all the furniture and all of the design is so 80s. And it's funny that now this design isn't cool anymore. But it was when my friend's parents built this house and made this room. So design is constantly changing and it's constantly evolving. People design their homes to get a certain feel for who they are as a family. What does this basement say about them? They love skiing. They love to be outdoors, and they're really fun people who are really into that sort of ski vibe. And I love homes that really sell who they are, and I'm always looking for that when I enter a new house. Here's their kitchen. Kitchen backsplash has always been part of a kitchen. Kitchens always look the same, but they're all so different. They all have the same appliances, but they're all different. I really love this house because everything in it is so intricate. Every little part of the house is thought out, and it's something that I really want to do in the future with my home is just really brand it, and not brand it necessarily, but show who I am through my design work. And I'm really minimalistic, but this house is very intricate, and I like how I can read that from them, even though it's not necessarily my style. So now I want to show you some of my friend's room. You see how different this design is? There's a complete different gap with who likes what design. These are college apartments where I just shown you a house with 50-year-old parents. It is so interesting how different age groups and different types of people love different types of design. Here's another room. She has different decorations, completely different decorations, but you can tell that it's a certain vibe. Here's a bathroom setup. Some people like to be really clean with their designs. You can tell from this room that this girl really loves the beach and she loves simple and seashells and things of that sort, and I get that from them. Here's my room. It's a bit messier, but it shows that I love music and just being a little more sporadic than some of the other rooms that I just showed you. The next thing I'm going to show you is the design of type and posters and things of that sort. This is one of my favorites because it's so cool how people can brand themselves in their companies just through computer graphics and designing for an audience, a specific one. Here are some coasters that I think are beautiful and show what each winery represents. Here's a Dunkin' Donuts cup that's a perfect example of graphic design, showing the difference in milk foam versus espresso and steamed milk and cappuccino on the sleeve really shows us more about Dunkin' Donuts. Here's an invitation I just received. How beautiful it is, and makes me think I gotta save this date. Ferris Bueller's Day Off poster in my apartment with other college-like posters. These are designed in a certain way to make others realize, oh, I'm in a college apartment and this is how the design's going to be. Back to my friend's basement, this billiards poster, it really shows that type of time period and that what they're going for. Mugs, things of that sort. Here's a cute mug with moose on it. I bought it just because it was cute. That's a great example of graphic design. And cards that we get for people on their birthdays. People have designed these and we just pick them up at the store. But they're really thought out and they're beautiful designs. Decals that you get for your wall. If you dream it, you could do it. Other posters that we have in our house. We love to express ourselves through different typographies on different textures. Stores show who they are with their logo and type. Stickers in my room. My books. Everything you see right here has type on it. And I probably bought it just because I thought it was pretty. And that's really what I'm getting at here. Your games. They design that a certain way that those bright colors show us it's for kids. Back to the house I showed earlier, showing this Italian-like kitchen. Our video games, they're all designed for the audience that they're trying to portray to. Mario is a certain way. Jeep. We all know what Jeep looks like. Here's another winery logo that's intricate because of who they are. Herschel is actually one of my favorite brands. Their trademark logo is really nice, and their backpacks have gone crazy reviews, high praise, because they're just a company who has branded themselves so well, and even I, as a graphic designer, want their products. Here's just a normal board game, too, that is beautifully designed. It makes you want to play more when typography and figures are used in a way that are aesthetically pleasing for us. Here is my bullet journal. It's one of my favorite things. I practically write everything in it. I write all my notes. I do all my calendars in it. It's been really helpful as a graphic designer, and I think it shows how we could use design to make notes and studying for tests more fun. This is how I study for tests, and it's been a great way to help me. And I told a lot of other people about it. Another winery using type simplistically to not overwhelm the reader and so that they can look around and not feel like it's too much. Wedding gifts. This is a world with a custom design for two people. That's where design is used a lot, is wedding gifts. More posters. We constantly just put our life in color with graphic design, and we don't realize that people put a lot of time and work into these things that we plaster our wall with. So now I want to tell you a little bit about what I actually want to do with design in the future. I decided I want to be a user experience designer during my second year of college. User experience is the process of enhancing user satisfaction with the product by improving the usability, accessibility, and pleasure provided in the interaction with the product. User experience combined what I love about how a product can grab the attention of a user and the ability to manipulate that through graphic and web design. Right now I'm browsing through my website I made for a user experience class I have. I loved making this website because it shows who I am, and how I've shown you how homes and people's decorations can show who they are. I really like to show who I am through a web interface. And I designed this based on things I love. Really straight, simplistic design and very little color. I really like gray and mint green. They suggest a feeling of easy, simple, and that we're going to help you with your experience on this website and that it's going to be a pleasant experience. And I'm showing you a little bit more about my website because it really shows exactly what I want to do with design. And one of the things about user experience that kind of blew me away when I first learned about it is I knew I wanted to work with information architecture and really straight design layout that makes a user want to interact with a website. But you have to go through a lot of user research and figuring out what your target audience is. It's not just about what design that you like. You don't just make art that you find pleasing or a message that you want to send. It is what your product you have and the customers that you need to satisfy. I really love that about user experience because I really like being given a task and being able to make it come alive through a website. And you can't always do that through studio art, but it really is at a crossroads of business, marketing, and graphic design. You get to put that creative and that also put a little bit of math and really hard quantitative thinking into it. Right now I'm browsing through on this website a campaign I made for another class that I'm displaying on my website. And it just shows how you can display the information you did on an interface. The way I displayed it makes it look really clean and something that it's a lot of words and a lot of reading, but the way I displayed it makes it look interesting, and it's very easy to make things look clean and interesting when you're working with this kind of software versus pen and paper and paints. And that it has helped me really excel in skills because it's really about learning about color and how they interact and spacing and using that white space, using clean typography, and whenever you're trying to make things coming together, make sure that they're cohesive and that they're the same across various layouts. So design for me is a lot about structure and shape and form. And for me, I'm not about all the flowy lines. I more like things to be in a layout box form. For my future, it's in design. It's not necessarily making art for pleasure and things like that. I really want to make art for user experience design. So this is making websites and just layouts of all interfaces that we use as humans, and especially in the 21st century, it's become a part of our lives, and I think it's super intriguing how much a product can grow based on the way that their interfaces are. So some of our favorite things that we use every day, like Instagram, that's a great example of user interface, and I want to be a part of that design. And just because it's not like making logos and making concert posters, which is still amazing. I would love to do those things, but I'm still so into, the back end of some of these interfaces that we don't even think about and we use in everyday life. And I think it's pretty amazing how much marketing plays into our lives. And some people don't even realize that they are a product of marketing and that they're the users that are being researched, and the way that we use our devices, the way that we press certain buttons, and how that we interact with these things is the future. This is how we're going to progress. They learn from what we do now, and they're trying to create better ways and more usable designs. So before you go ahead and think I'm some stickler who really only likes black and white and straight lines, I just want to show you some example of my own graphic design work I did at an internship last summer. So as you can see, I do use color when I need to. Something like this is I had a customer and they're asking for certain types of design, so I can also use the philosophy that I have about satisfying customers. So maybe they want a lot of color, so mostly with invitations and things like that, I can really do something that I necessarily don't like as a design, but I know that I'm meeting the task of who I'm trying to impress. And when a customer comes to me and they want an invitation a certain way, I know exactly what to do. I, of course, struggle with design too. I'm about to show you another clip of me explaining what I actually struggle with too. One of the struggles I have with design is probably doing a lot of iterations. I have a hard time because I just like to get things done, and I have very little patience when it comes to art. So when I'm making designs and everything, I just wish I could do one copy and then a final. And that is a real struggle for me because I really just need to sit down and think about what I want to do and keep doing it over and over and over. And that's been so hard for me. But what I realize is when I'm forced to, based on projects and things like that, it's really, really helpful to me because I realize how much my designs progress over time when I am doing multiple copies of each and how different they are from the beginning. And if I hadn't done those iterations, it would be a completely different design. And that's really blows my mind, and I've been getting much better with that and just trying to really go over, collaborate with others, and learn about just how can I get these designs better and be more patient about the way that I work, because when I am, the results are there. And so that's what I've been working on as a designer. Here I'm showing you an example of one of my favorite websites. It's a personality test, and I just think that the interface did an amazing job of showing each personality in a way that kind of represents what it is really easily. And it's such a clean layout, and it's something that I would probably model my own layouts by because it's categorized with color, and they're all very cohesive. But it's funny because they're all such different personalities. So this has just been one of the websites that have inspired what I do. So kind of relating to interface design is the whole idea of industrial design. This is design like, say, a piano. It's a design that is functional and it works for humans, kind of like how much I'm obsessed with how websites work for humans. So I'm also super interested in these things, and I took a lot of footage of a lot of things that I notice in every day that are just functional and a great design that is worked for decades. A clock. Here next is a wine holder, and it's made out of a ski. And that's just a functional way that design is showing aesthetics. The mouse of a computer that I use all the time. Wine glasses. The bottle to pour a wine. These were all once designed, and they're functional, and they have been for a very, very long time. And more with wine is like wine barrels in a wine cellar. Those are functional, and they've been used for centuries. The way we know how to turn a knob of a faucet, we know how to do that because it's a genius design. Twist and the water will come. Every single morning when we get coffee, we're using a design, and it's being designed for us. Even knives, the way we cut. I see it in bookcases, how they hold them. Games that have been passed down for centuries. It's a design that works and it's fun. And I remember this game a lot from when I was a kid, and I really liked the design of it, and I thought it was super unique. You have your classic keyboard. It's a complete designed interface that we use every single day. Even the hangers we use to hang our clothes in our closet are a designed product that we need and almost everybody has. Here's a bar setup that was beautifully designed with drawers and everything that someone would need that was implementing this. I see it a lot with chairs, and their chairs can be very different. Here's two great examples. A ski chair. It's a very unique product, and you might not want to sit on it, but everyone knows that that's a cool, cool design, and it has great texture on it. And I've always been a big fan of unique products that were once used for something else. I want to show you a little bit of things that I notice is texture. I don't really get it to use it a lot on interface design, but I always see it and I'm fairly interested in it. Real art, paintings. I don't get to use it a lot since I'm so into minimalistic design, but it does inspire me in a way because it shows me the other way and I can incorporate little bits of it and it really helps my designs pop since I am so, dare I say, boring. I can add some sort of color and abstractness to my designs, and they're truly inspiring whether my designs are like them or not. I do notice them, and that's why I've added some footage. Even when I walk to art class and see other students' work, I really get inspired by them. Sense of place and surrounding is sort of my design philosophy, and I wanted to end this video with how this simple notion paves the way for my creative juices to flow, and it shaped me to be who I am as a person and as a designer. Often just in normal, everyday activity, I'm just looking around at the architecture and just noticing things that I like about it, and it really helps me when I start to design, figure out what I actually want to do with everything. I feel like it makes my design very cohesive. All of the designs I produce, they have a similar construct because it's what I notice in nature. Even walking down the stairs, I'm noticing every single angle and line. Flowers, I'm noticing color and how it interacts with its environment. I notice the wood on the floors and how each line is associating with one another. Of course, paintings and how design is used on furniture, on the floor, on the walls, everywhere. I notice design at your bathroom sink, like I've said before. I notice the texture on the walls, the way light lights up the texture. I notice it when I nanny in the summer even. A sense of place is me. Sense of place is definitely one of the sources of inspiration in what I do every single day. Not only in my design work, but also in my daily conversations. It is not like I'm living in the past, but I often find myself going back to some of those incredible scenarios to create and get inspired again. A sense of place is kind of a survival pack that gets me going throughout the creative processes and work. I would describe my sense of place as coming from landscape and observing all the things around me, both big and small. A sense of place inspires me with its expressions of life. Beauty in our surroundings express that essence of life by moving us through what we can see and what we can touch, something we can experience and feel. For me, ergonomic and minimalistic environments are my favorite. Those types of environments get me super motivated and they make me feel really at peace. Most of my designs aren't made specifically for interface design, which is what I want to do, but most of my designs have that architectural touch. It's quite impalpable and it's directly linked to the notion of identity and territory. An object or a concept embodies a mix of visual codes, stylistic approaches, fantasies, and values emanating from a particular territory and kind of an imaginary identity. It's a complex construct that projects a certain image based on my personal interpretation. A sense of place is embodied in character and consistency. Most of my designs essentially are inspired by my culture and my environment. It involves all the experiences my environment has thrown at me. The uniqueness of what I design evolved from my origin, and it's shaped by my personality. I notice contrast, balance, and all the other design principles in nature, and that attributes to my practice every single day. Thank you so much for watching my documentary, Design for Life. I just hope that you learned a little bit about who I am and my design philosophy and everything that comes with being an interface designer and a designer who is always looking at her surroundings. And I hope that you get inspired as well after watching this video, and hopefully you'll start looking around in nature and in the buildings you go to and the people you talk to, and Basically, everything that life is related to design, and I'm just so grateful that you watched this film because I spent a lot of time trying to really hone in on who I am as a designer.